Badwam on Adom TV, multi TV, so you can catch us a bit in common for Ghana. Common for also famous. It's very important. Some come away the Utia. Nishin Sanson say, Ubeti media, Boa, Amagana, Timaconcana. For what in your mother donors or AC or mine, no one and word is very important. Now, about the rules of the actual say, any Onipa Oba Boya made me Abogana Hobra. Adwene Ghana hona sa akwenye bema wetimanya akwenye busana ba akomedi no ene ye professor Gyampo ono hiase be chirichiri mu akire wo se o say nebum ebia na afi no wadwene ye dia o de ko University of Ghana or political science lecturer hono ana okọ eye Pentecost for so enodom eno achi nso no owokuo nketinketin ro a bo mu akwanya sa bebre so na eba Ghana nso ene said ya bakosem ne ya manyosem ye twatu adwene ne nyoma ka ho nyina nso a odi mutinti man ye pa very young energetic man professor afishapa akwaba
afenko meto yen
prof bibia nam ne kwam
nyame adom nyame adom
good say ye brain intino ye be pese enanim dia onyame dia adom a wo de boa Ghana no obepo no kakra de ama no wa cheche no bia ni so esan se yesi gina se asoman under the 4th Republican dispensation no ade baako a ade baako mako 9 bia biribia da obi e ba kaso obeko atia keta asehye obema kwanya nso abeda ha ma mabunu nya adwuma eno achi nso obehwe se oman ni mpuntu kanko ne betimi edi mo awie nafi that ahofama patriotism, that sense of patriotism they come oman no etimi amanagina wo hwa baby aya ko afi abedu titu de edi enya kese pa no ebezo nya brechire mu no eketa sha ene yakutia ye pa aban beba aban beko obia manifesto obia social contract on ban wo no corruption I'll fight it corruption I'll fight it from 1992 ABC enano pe onyame aduma ye ka say the first challenge we have as a country is the continuous fight against corruption, whether we are making progress and I graph no ejina baby ejina. Can you prescribe at this point in time?
Let me say the battle against corruption our part of the world, it appears to have been fought and lost. And it say or pepper and I say political will to me a fight no it appears to be lacking and I say non-existent.
In your
and I say obi wo aban mu a nisun ko na obi wo opposition so a nisun enko and afi the demeanor, the posturing, the utterances are say eba abonte mani pe hu say proye nya de a ye beso so no eya na o kai mmiri bi apeya or that president em so obekoi Nigeria bra ye fa na say President Buhari yansana obetu te asehye eho anamompo no nsem bia na wakeka no baaye niema bia oye won a ewie sika afa for mining sika kra na nsana go after them no they themselves are under themselves hey papi but it appears that in our part of the world no enam kwan a ye fa so eto aba na ye de enya mpenimfo mombedi so no ntino aban ba na ketase hye no ne kon no heading kakra de hye obi ni sika a or the election anso so opese or contest intino or a lot of people are more financial campaign well na eto de bia omonye sika wan na omode financial campaign bia na omonam kwan bia enye so na enya na omobe financial na obeye adi president na se bibia se wo kweti omono na edin ade che say we no na de oba yi o eto de bia contracts bia de mama obi nye road contractor enso so no mi ton it man contract on constructed road and as enam jumedi bia odi anase support bia or the support aban in its quest to be elected etino yes anye road ni ye a untumi ogisika no amfa anya untumi nka and inema bebre etino wo hwe even also the institutions in the fight against corruption still are no even though abanya breso no oye ye bibi kakra ma say charge for budget to cost so na say for, but still won say won ni akade no any sika dodo a say wonya no dey fight corruption which na say ya special prosecutor na no ho ye me won kakra young man na yefpa wo say bedi say dwuma no na wotie ni interview kasa ba ye man for hopes na say for na say no why me won kakra de kire say when you are in that position no say me mpenimfo be sa wo so na ma kire mo say edwuma na ka na no mo pese me ya mo fa ma me na oni omo enya agreement bi, and you should have done due diligence and investigation to know say see before I be call no na nipa kro ti wono kra na o ka say sikasem a say ba na edi enso no be ma ye hope kasa ye meye afi edo wo say sika ni wa ye de ma enti no ono ankasa no blame no say when to me anticipate say we be na fei aban so what you've gone out of your way to set up prosecutor. Don't forget to say yeah, the constitution house working at the IE and make proposals for constitutional review. No? We made recommendation not for special prosecutor who work in the shadows of Attorney General, but we make recommendation for an independent public prosecutor whose office is supposed to be separated from Attorney General. And so Abain is not so much open to constitution review, even though the implementation of the constitutional review, even though it was very much consulted when it was in opposition. And to Abain, no, honestly, on independent public prosecutor, something that I call a special prosecutor, on independent. And what do you mean? I go out of your way to set up a special prosecutor, not as a show of your commitment to fighting corruption, and they resource them. But and I want to say that. But
that's what makes what desire manual semi landscape. What the 1592 Emirata Mills, Emirata President Kufo, Emirata John Dramani Mahama, Abba current one here. Omuna painting picture be say Omu na Mombia Tia Ketas Shene Proye. Ebe Urembe na just for the cameras and Amontu no Mutu. So how do we solve that problem?
Well, how do we solve that problem? Ejina or mind for and answer awareness, public awareness. You see, one of the challenges of every developing country that unfortunately leaders take for granted, either they themselves do not know or they take for granted, no, is the caliber of people they lead, whether they are knowledgeable or they are ignorant. One of the challenges of every developing country is the fact that its population or citizenry are generally ignorant. If you read Michael Todaro and Smith for work on development now, sometimes you have to spend a lot of time actually bringing some enlightenment among your citizenry. Now, when your people are enlightened, they take to demand accountability, and they tend to ensure, say, they would always take you on and they will keep you on your toes. They will demonstrate, they will speak against it. If you are very much aware of the caliber of people you are presiding over now, but they know that we are mostly ignorant, and then added to that is that we've been plagued into reconcilable parties difference.
Exactly, that's probably a key one.
Yeah. First of all, we are ignorant, and secondly, MPP for be support nara, NDC for be oppose nara, and vice versa. Na face so no yashada. Essence politicians thrive on the ignorance of the people ninti. Bibi to say National Commission for Civic Education. Yan resource okay, yan resource mo. Ama wom entumi enye dwuma eso mo ye. You know, National Commission for Civic Education, ye shas ye 1892 no. Following the draft of 1992 constitution, no, it was essentially staffed by cadres, PNDC cadres. And in one around the time that they were set up, no, they didn't a lot of resources to operate because they were all cadres, people who had died in the supporters of the predecessor regime. And to more musika kra they would continue to do their work. But so within the period of the Rawlings era and as for they were not adequately funded, but they didn't care. Okay, but when J. Kufuor came, the regime you see, then they started seeing them as we are kids. In that case, the funding to them, it's now into me and known as a plague of the lack of funding or paucity of funding to NCC, across the form up to now. And the politicians today know that an enlightened citizenry is a danger to their continuous sustenance. So ye manipa mu adwin ebie na omo hunia ekoswa ebema amanyofo omo ahihye omo enti no we will not fund the NCC well and so that people will continue to live in ignorance. Memfa we into us sir ignorant enye se wako school enye se oye professor enye se we PhD you can be well educated and still be ignorant. Sir I debt exchange program here air cost I can tell you say enkofo bebre wo ho a musika ho beka omo ye mpenimfo and so omo nim omo ntiase they don't even understand senia enkofo oposi I'm telling you anka and travel even the delays would not have traveled this far if people were to be. I can tell a lot of members of parliament do not understand, a lot of people in academia they don't understand. So ignorance is one key danger and challenge that plagues a developing country. And I say if we are enlightened about some of these things, we would all keep our political leaders on their toes and ensure say, hey, I deal with them and conform me for more but the politician is aware. See
one thing I will say is that maybe you are too patriotism and you appreciated dishonesty and unneeded partnership. We might play a role, even the institutions that are mandated to be a check on some of these things ever happen or your handicap. Prof, you Mpesi NATO, nation of talkers. No action. You better because admit if you say with the belief that about way bar or be page could do a way bar or be page could do a way bar, but about banko bana esa eba sayana essa. So how are we governing ourselves? Well, in this fight,
you talk about spirit of patriotism. See, patriotism or nationalism is a feeling of attachment to the nation and the desire to make sure that the nation prosper. The point is that that feeling is not there because in the name of the nation, Nankasano, or one Kasano, any patriotic feeling and sentiment. One Kasa, a year at Candifono, the American, the nation dry. Oh, Nipa, Amam Penifwahi, and on my bass or massa me banami and Casamum be did that, and to the Musi Rampe. Me basa me be somo mine na meja nsen na ho me live legacy ama me dimbra mini ho nipa he na yesa o mampani bia ba otukwan ogi ne pedi pepepepepepepe ni bibia e wo state no no beji ni nyina pepepe nti etu ache ade bia ni ho a clearly obi ya hu se we de we tu no ho ache o me de me ba eto de bia na convoy edi menim no 30 na mo tan se oman no ho akere yen na afei mi hu se eniema mu nya de ntino eniema mu ya de man nti bia ka ba a police for me no di mechi Ghana for mo nhwe se na me ye se na ebe ya me kire mo se me tu mi ho ache sa strike ne na asefo a ye koyi a eto de bia mumu bebre mo nti ase ni nyina e kire it points to a certain lack of patriotism on the part of leadership. Now say you die no usua nia onim odi enim no enante into leadership enye patriotic leadership and sacrifice ya then now for so won e wase no and sacrifice de bia no mo say ye no mu entwen ope ye nte ye belt ye tight belt na mo de modidi anom ufufuo enam aguso say ni na ni okoto apofin opoku aponchinam odwananam ponkonam ni nyina eguso wodi di wie a wanum nsuo anamo nsa papa bi na ufuru etatwe waso air condition asas of fan aka na woda ho na wo hwanko na wo ba okomode na ana wo say nsuo no twe it will not emba it's a patriotism emia yedwuma depends on leadership near leadership no President Adi Rollins ebaso na otashe agbada na fuguru ohun say na nkofo
Asha.
Alan Shermantin yes, Minister for Trade
Special
Initiative and on which I say this African country by and President Akufo-Addo buy or buy no tomata the most at times we say oshe on say or start to say oshe no
Africa
percent me say Pentecost for we your opinion so be say we then we share coat na say for answer na coat say me ka be me dey because me dey acheche and na me ko program be so say we share coat na say for me say me nibi because as I say in any mono started say all share na fenti no obi aye den ehia won enti say basse in any mono aye o madwen say omo betumo ho ache na omo milk the nation dry obi betumi aye dwuma mfie ne wo ho na on pay say obe salary increment because opinion na nkasa no kire say odentuma aye den aboniem
na ko boss one area commentaries in Biafra opa destabilize your mind one way or the other. They be at that giddy labor front. Hey, salary disparities. I don't know how we can close the gap or make a reasonable percentage of Ghanaian worker quite comfortable because you could take a stand for it. Who should be also my year, Juma 35 years, market you 1,800. Who should be also my call retirement, market you 1,600. That's any panel there. Yes, was had in fact to be a call obi uru amanyo. They be because say yes atono pe na de nibre kese bi a eba. How do we solve that gap? Because gaba if we don't pay attention to it, the problems be.
Kwame Nkrumah be di oman Ghana so do na oye committed and oye patriotic and na ohwe say onye pro ene ketase hye afi Nkrumah breso no o make sure say enye oman no ho na ono be fa yi okọ nkrofo a uhwe kuro na se Kwame Nkrumah krum ntumi amfa development papa bi anko ho uhwe na point is na sefo ni nyina ofa se osuafo a na wankasa wo a na wankasa wo odan a weden utim estate na sefo a osisi ye no bebre wo ho a osisi ye se wo ye member of parliament a obedemu a se wankasa wo krom no na ufie a wo na wo krom oba enye aban dan ubedemu kakra na oye wedwuma na den ukọ edu bibi no won a nkofo bi etoto aban property but ye ton mom kwan a ese den ye ton mom so na che enye aban ho na obefa na waye yi niam bebiri wo ho a esese na ofo se ese wo ansa na wabeye afase soafo ana ti omo aye palm se soafo na omo ye nkofo na omo abobra da we are political theory a. Now, one of the scholars, thinkers, was saying, say, you see, property should be one of the requirements that would have to be considered in determining who must be given political appointment. I say, obi a wabo brada, as I see a she, wabo braben,
okoya
bruchiria, you investigate your background, who then brana wabo, a day you man awaye. Sika ben we to me esave who are yere who mba who are your dependents ye hwede nyina na hu se wa brother na wan kase wa akwa properties for yourself ah ene ye hwede se we onfa ne nsa ma yeden embebo aban sikim ba yen no yen de yen hwede sa so Nkrumah was mindful of life na we lead ansa na wa yeden wa point to fast forward from Nkrumah ma yejuma kakra to Nkrumah other regimes na yejuma kakra but a bit Rollins time PNDC time no one essence no very young one of form say oni omo be yejuma no most of them no mo school bebre so young omo we school ni nti na won ye den won mo brother nti no nia ekoba ne say essence wo mo brother nti no aban me pese obeboa na aban etumi eye ni na utu o manti no umo brother udidanti aban be den adan umo brother onto kanti aban be ma ka umo brother unisa ne manti aban be ma so anka ye nyina san se wo ya abofrent se ne be ya wadwen entumi obenya hoto na ode den ode edwuma de aba abra de abo aban no eno na ye the genesis of the conditions of service for Article 70 office holders. Rollins yes are we no the year 1992 constitution no and afi ye de no ye den e be hihye mu ende ama abetwetwe ye kon mu a ebinom ye form say oman mu a de ebinom nte won ye form say appointees a ombo brother enim nkofo a ye kire omade ye kire ofi school no national service kura wanye bi enso wo hwe property okwa aban mu property will make you within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Now, what they compare, na emu ya yuram. Enti no, seni ya odi nkan kaya no. Se a basi you could create a certain category of public service workers. Na omudi omaketiem. And yes, omunim. Eto de biya openi. Ode we in century ni. Woni enkwofo ni bebre aban appointees. Eya woni omudi nkita awoso. Obi owa woni ne interactive a won se na wey so eba ne sen wey so ebu mi so wey so edi mi so so woni obi eye interaction won se na adwemu ye ha ana se onimude wa bon ebi no ma bon pa to se woni omo ye argument na woni omo ye interaction a adwenu mo kra enso so ni ya man V8 ya man saloon car account oji pet free na tadi o she ya man ho allowance owo chauffeur driven vehicle owo gardener or cook or den so no the contribution anka woni ne kasa woni ne di nkomo say the contribution to governance and national development will be zero and so na ya ya form na ya mom eniema bebre na was ankofo wo kan say your friend is saying eniema mo idea nti entertain eniema so ana say ya esi we nom de omo de no it's provided for by the constitution nti no san say mrapon na kantino omo de ye wo ye new ese de mom na ebinom de omo mfa omano enkopem ban anase bi constitution of the republic no enya it doesn't contain biblical or Quranic injunctions constitution subject to me pacho even chere konkron no kra no eto de bia okenkan na obisan say na we so bible people have issues with biblical contents. Inti even Bible means some Ukrainian na eto de bia ye swallow the hook line and sinker. Why will you say a constitution when it suits the politician or see nyana okay enona bia me dream hu a me ni nyina ejina the fact that we all don't know ye constitution review ye constitution review in 19 started the process started in 2006 bra me ye ejuma ayi and you can't say, IE provided a platform that's called the Ghana Political Parties Program. The program brought together the leadership of political parties representation in Parliament to discuss issues of national importance in an apolitical manner. Now, you study B, you can't say we are auditing the gaps in Ghana's democracy. Now, you make recommendations for reform. The first study, was political party leaders no Adom consultant be a friend Professor Reginald Austin who is in Zimbabwe, and the program was also funded by an organization in Netherlands called the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy. To mo far Reginald Austin and only Professor Kudo ebe team up talk Ghana hanyina na me omo akwala omo suma me talk Ghana hanyina no put together a document. Then that document was further developed by Professor Hoy, Professor Yao Chumesi, Dr. William Mahaji. Then I was a research fellow to them. And he taught Ghana and he developed a document to be called Democracy Consolidation Strategy Paper. So that Democracy Consolidation Strategy Paper identifies several flaws in our 1992 Constitution and make recommendations for reform. One of the recommendations for reform was that the 1992 Constitution had our problems, even though it has served us, but our challenges into the year review. You can't say it started 2006, so you can't say 2008 any elections. And President Mills, President Mills, we need and Professor Kwame now a document to say political parties, agree. Say you review constitution to we fire Juma. What see Professor Mills the first or second State of the Nations address? Or see say political party leaders agree. So you review constitution into may review. And now put in place a constitution review commission. Say they should undertake a nationwide public consultations on aspects of constitution that must be reviewed. based on also the document that we had prepared, democracy consolidation strategy paper. Na mumbisa Ghana for say yense same one no more years but it is interesting or it's important for me to say constituting the Constitution Review Commission, the membership was bipartisan. MPP4 our representation war NDC4 MPP4 was they were represented by no mean a person than the late Kenton.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And academia, civil society, Jimensa, political science department, Dr. Nicola Samponsa was there. NDC. Now, it was OSHA, it was a thoroughly constituted, properly constituted commission. And we call Ghana, edit a report, reflected the concerns of Ghanaians at the by about the review of the 1992 constitution. Then we kick-started the process. We formed a constitutional review implementation committee, and that will be the process near the core court. I'm the core court, and the Supreme Court. The reason is and yet a bind and also only did the constitution review process. I'm the core court, na court rule is a case. We had been ushered into the fever of the 2016 into a constitutional review process here the Tonchen Kakra. Then we held elections. A new regime was elected. New government in the Bayern. The document I spend on minus secretary die yen. You see, yen challenge and say MPP for a shard dia sea. Na NDC for bar or motochene. Say NDC for a shard dia sea. Na say MPP for bar or motochene. Into your problems, we are starting anew. We are near shard. We housing project. How MSK4 a chassis or share free housing national NDC for a buy and mills. Na or they it means a number almost so more than almost so and people for buy so much abandoned almost so they are thinking about. We are always starting anew. No nation can develop if it is always starting anew. Who we are? They be a shot this at the asset for free SHS here. You introduce you. Look, you move be challenges or issues with the free SHS, but well, that's the vision of the president, and that is a signature project of Professor Juma. Or yeah, even though it is based on borrowed resources and funding it in a problematic. I believe say on person to me especially if funding is improved to the project, our program and Yebemano ama fine. There is no guarantee. Say NDC4, NDC4 power. Boom. And you also back. Not once what
that's the challenge. We are battling in with another front about educational front. A lot of battles.
Once back. Not one day. Ebinum kaneno ebinum see a call SDA Form 1 to Form 5. And your course 6 form. We are 6 form. Now quite national service and so call university. We invest outside national service and so pay you my. Now, ebinum buy I say well you back on 3 years. Ebinum 4 years. Ebinum 3 years. Ebinum 4 years. We are not even a serious nation. Oh, and so send ya midi nkankan no. Am ko for no nem say ye anka yenim yen too kwan da.
We are ignorant.
Yen first no obi tro ne car travel na yen tiase. So utu kwan a na obehu ne ekoso obibi na based on that no.
Abaye odi.
Na me that say me amekan ya de bia na enkofo mekan na enkofo sere me nsan ka bi mo se bra. Na me unim say etumi tena Ghana ha. Na obi wo ho a obo no nsafo yin say me nsuo nsuo no eba once every month. To koye politics no wa ye or the machine be nsuo no buy anu apom fufu na nsuo no ko once every month and or he is proud to say that oh at least nsuo no ba. How him say baby for yen tu nsuo mo da me say bra me ko school me ko PhD Tufts University funding your mama scholarship na me do ha no mo diska bi share mensa mo diska no share mensa no eja krasi ni a matena Ghana me nko me nduru kwan da e diska no mama no na me di nka me koto blanket store near ma ba kakri na me to bucket and so the AC ho to bucket me bu nsuo dware mbu nsuo na me di si ho anche adechi na me professor supervisor Professor Pearl Robinson or associate or Tufts University or buy be chia me want to say me say o me ho ye na na sika na yɛde ma no ɛtesa me si o matoto ne ma kakra maybe mato na say na bucket yi so and bucket man fi no professor wuni the uses of bucket there nti me dan asem ne yɛbɔ nkɔma and was like na me say bucket ya we bu nsu egu mu ye na ma me pese obisa me nti a me si o mpacho me bu nsu ne si wo na me so na pana ebia nsu ema na to say me nsu I was being proactive coming from Ghana e kan no da for stress o say me ha ne wo me 60 years of my existence no me hu si ato nsu mu da nti fa back san ko
ti 1 month back ko na
so we do 2 years wa ha bucket for bucket ko na fe me ho popo me de bucket no so ko me yes me de ko no me do one on hey we the bucket na tell me say I omo je bucket no kra wo mra omo ampese obi behu say me return bucket no mpo ha koto ade na kasa o de ko say goods sold are not returnable what they yes what they call who any so no say you have not traveled to see some of these things say it happens elsewhere we buy invest here ye pray say sika ye pray fan ya aban university aban asset so be essence say public university aban must give money to aban sika o de money na na teacher for cape kwanya university no ebetua na light bill aban fa ho kwanya university no betua na water bill aban fa ho nti ukọ halls na say obi edu na no pay amanfo etimi kọ baby so e wo do brisi no e ma ne ye ma 10 ye nyansi o mfa flesh ade etna so be kọ na afa amanfo ejina so na ojina so na sansa de nto ojina so na wo so ne hwen na wo opia ade ba ye ntumi enya emfla onto kwan enkohu se baby ukọ na ukọtena ade no so a me first experience me tena ade no so me yes me sorry no na ade na nkasa ayira ade na nkasa won fa won so bibia we na no nkasa ayira na ma di
travel and see
they know me papa wonya ne baby na ono tena enam Rollins a obetu aban SMC 2 eguye na kunkum kofo ntia ma me papa atu kwan kotena UK ama obeye UK citizen and na for because he had to seek podcast. I believe in another meeting come say. So no oyabanya anko be making a policy say. Ghana yemfa kwan bi so na yema obia ntu kwan kwa abruchiri. Na okodi 3 months na kohwene ekoso wo ho. Nti say wo ba wote nyema bi ase.
But fortunate for us.
Eba wote nyema bi ase. Nti no you can demand accountability. Brother me go school tough so. Obi ehu a say brantie a waba mba say obe perform ombe say omunwuma ne bi na mo ba say obe so. Obi ehu a so de okwa kobwa nye Ghana yi. Obi ehu a ko na kobwa nye Ghana yi. Takwa na adwome da hwa na me say na dey na obi ehu a kobwa nye Ghana yi. Me vice chancellor wabahada. The minister for education wabahada. The president wabahada. Mpenimfo na wabahada. Ada omontumi anye den emfa nye ejuma. Ni say sankofo omoye nkofo kuma bi a omotututu kwan. And they are presiding over an ignorant citizenry that does not know in near ekoso bibi. You know, they know that they are not able to demand accountability. Okay, into the nyama beko, but now ye na ye knowledgeable. Etutu ehunia ekoso. Ye na won so etutu kwan no. Omode nia omokoku obibi no. Omode ebe develop yenya. Wo tu kwan na me nso metu kwan da. Nti me na wo ye hia ye se o sa ye ne sa wanti ye ne sa. But we are ignorant. Nti nyama ekoso bebrebe ni nyina no, nyina fit into the fact that one of our key features as a developing country is that we have an ignorant citizenry that is unable to demand accountability and keep regimes on their toes. Into yes, debia propaganda. Maye, I say maye we maye. Make I say maye we maye. Say politics ticking the boxes. Oh, maye and so bon say enyada. I say you provide employment. I'm a nipa. And so debia uncle for the application. Say you share employment. Anti achievement no maye niema ye ka. Listen. Para na me ye my papa bi obedi University of Ghana so a friend NSIT vice chancellor oye niama bebre we your infrastructure na oye in such a way that enyo no na okwa abonten ka se yes my na mom at the school for nankasa no hey papa we dey wa yes if you live in a democratic dispensation where the political elites and adebia omaya
ehunu no
na kire se asem ho se waya enso manfo na
obi abewu se
ba abonten be ka se maybe say you provide so much jobs enso no ayese insentrene a ekoso ewo enkofo bi fake pastors crusade ase fake pastors who come crusade ase a de bia yesi obubuafo bi yasa ne yare enso obubuafo no bi anim okrom ho onifre ni bi yasa ne yare ohu ade enso bisa ekromafo na obi anim no sana ya achievement that be an yeah so people and sink it into the biana propaganda and what we have to overhaul our entire democratic and governance
overhaul
system. Yeah, for a thorough overhaul. Yenya leader bia or kase look me here president Nana Akufo-Addo and ya ema yemu bi edi ne ho yawo e de kire se wo hwe adwuma na wedi memfia na akoenim na me kai se embiri bi first time na me say na or pe kwan say obe onikufuo contest na me school ni na o trem say enya afiansa na monto aba ma me na me nkohwe amra na mo mikresi kano na Christian church na ye spokesperson say sikan me wo hode da na me de ba me ankasa mabo me bere wie president Akufo-Addo meti say that time no kra na me say drive aban eka onu ankasa woni fie onu ankasa woni bi ntina yemu bebre eni da so eni suma na ye woni say obey leader is only going to be interested in legacy niema ye pe enkofo pe wo kare a o sha na se no say o ka che wa so ka che na point you say obi pe ni ho enya
ban mu
onko private sector bacha say nti me ka say sad na nka de be yi adwuma na nka ono obi fi me dem beji din keke but o sha na point is no bebre ni niema akoko so na sefo ama say it appears that there is a certain hopelessness Akufo-Addo entumi anya ono ananka ye wo sa gidie ewo numu no kra entumi anya say ye kwan
na say wo can we ye no too ye wo omo flag bearing contest about your people who are showing up say 1% omo hwe no better.
Well you see sankofo no ye betumi aka omasem but me chere say before ye be ka omasem no say so afianso no
president we failure na
president Akufo-Addo in terms of trust and confidence, he has not lived, up to the trust and confidence and the goodwill.
As a result of media
or a leader into the backs will stop with him. On one person went to me and live the life according to the goodwill and expectation. The voter President Akufo-Addo it is ebinsi edi train EDBT President Mahaman ebinsi the history of a fourth public will be that it tells you say nankofo ewo GDA any areshum ewo no but enne ubisa obia won a na eye die in the wood as supporters of him kra no ubisa omo so na menka ho ade no Pascal ne obia say me de menka ho obia say menka ho he has disappointed Ghanaians.
Well, I think we join a Professor Gyampo na in the children command. A Ghana and common a yedi into baby free baby ano. So pepe and yedi. We need a country. Many ano. You be extremely comfortable. Yeah, kasa we continue to be proud and patriotic Ghanaians. No one them and a lot of issues you raise up. It's say you're vulnerable. It's say ignorant. Ignorant. The word used advisedly. I know say no PhDs. Why there be. If you know a brawum. And the amount might be so come for some mutumpon, a show mukru manner, and in your momudi guacoma. Clearly, a hormone ye dinners. I didn't in the idea. Ye to say the yetu and among Basana Montuno, Ejina Faco. What continues to be the challenge of this a year country? The Professor Gyampo, no boy, I'm getting at it, Yahoo, so sorry. one major area of the NDA employment opportunities. You know, say we are say buying any crown mano, create all those opportunities. See, quite the almost baby I could do no. Buying quant mean that opening for opportunities for job. Other individuals, any private for no so at this animal to. But when you have it made more we pay, it is dependable on a certain environment, any certain policies. And traditional universities, are churning out every year by a huge number of graduates. What do we do? Are we seeing that in terms of job opportunities, private, government, individuals?
I say, and I invest, you know,
it's a course now.
Employer.
Yeah. The money by the term.
One Casano, you see, on my bone.
One more Cassa and Montitiana Modema and on my bone.
And they say, on my bone in terms of the appreciation of the essence of university education. You can't work with university. You see, university education and yet vocational education. You are supposed to begin broad, universal education that makes you receptive to learning and training in Bibia. Swahili, philosophy, and linguistics, or head a bank. Na this year no, and na dini mono. Ama na dream we be. Enti ye no question ya na training na. No. Universal education. And ye. That's almost cause I say you churning out all the people with the requisite skill now. Their job openings are It's not the fact that we are churning out people and their jobs and they are refusing and that's their jobs no refuse them. The openings are not there. You won't come for Ghana, adi madam fubi nya madam fubi school ni bi wo be director be madam fu school ni bi a ya kire na de wa ha owie school owie ye no akachire akobọ ne masters owie watena ho aye ne doctorate owie oye no aba Ghana so aba Ghana me be pay dwuma na area no so a okura no owo no aye very technical adi area a pay dwuma sa onya ene na nsa we ho se mo ka kire me se we dey mesako back to that. When onye adwuma ye watena abeye say 5 years are all pay adwuma go interview upon interview onya until we dey mesako back to that. Nimdie any nyansa wono odi kobwa na so it is not the case say you are not producing the right caliber of people. The point is that even if you produce the right caliber of people no krana the openings are not there. When I catch you, napku sabe mfo no mote napku no omma omo de omko akose napku
say kai opening kakra
na me say opening kakra wuti hey edwuma wo yi ye opening kakra anka na ho aye fe ya wo ba phone sa akese mienu a me hu wo ka ki nso na me hwe ka akọ no akasa napku anka obetumi aye edu bia we that's in youth employment aye koye be say then say exit one na obebu men na ni so ade ese opeso obenyin be ye penim papa oye sustain so opening papa betumi ahwe ne yere ne mba ni so ade hu se pese me koye adwuma e wo you for 2 years na yimi esi chen wow enti da bia achievement maye oh ya ma adwuma so after 2 years you have no work you go back to the system and you are look problems no edoso ni aban bia opeso obaso eso ye ne se hwe eniama ye ne bebre ye ka meye ye nyini yi abia owo enisuade hunu papa no oba ni opeso to make catch Ghana for problems no doso from independence up to now the history of the Fourth Republic up to now no ye share dance of problems no enti no me ba me promise mu ni me pese me ye ne se mehwe education mehwe apomudin saadi ye mienu pe na mpesa meye ye no maye ni nti education say free ye disika nyina ko hyemu yie na fe enne wo secondary schools emofra de da bonte and emofra de da form headmistress ne headmasters ya bo ma no se wo ka ye be transfer omuntumi nka a teacher for ha no mafra on the ofra wa no pouch so me pacho enkobo mi din na ya esunie ye timisha na education no yie na fe health care you sika papa ehim na fe omanfo contribute na two major ayi ye achieve ni yie a na ye ni yie afoforo nso ba osemema mu nyina adwuma enye napku type of adwuma then we create an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive so that nkofo nipa bebrebe adwuma no so be ya na waye ni yie na onu so efi ho obi ba o say energy me so me ni yie na onu so efi ho say yes a oman no be den ebetu mpon na mom ye de esan say ye mounto political campaign rally platform na ye pese ye kan ya nipa asum be yo nipa pese o mutinti. See, we want to tell people what they want to hear until we promise everything knowing we can achieve nothing. Oh share omo say ye be we omo kan ni pefe say wontumi nye. Are we serious? Oba say going forward we are serious ni oba portion ye mienu ana miensa Ghana for you to me nyani nyina we do
ahodi akogo
no. Wo ahodi akogo wo wie a wati din na we fio no bi nso aba no nso aba ene de mienu ana miensa o wie a ono so din eno na ye be nyema achievement a ye be achieve no e be last e be ye quality na fe amanfo e be boy din e de din be tabatan say we na obeye we na ye de bia hwe etumi eye kwan anopa by enumre near the street light is one day because president just one day adebeche na start photos amino your problems no do so now it requires a selfless and sober leadership obe pound of akachom say esan problems no do so no person na ekun ho okay obi a wabo ne brother say esan so wabo brother ye mauka wo ka wankasa wo yusu da mo ani bi aketua kakra wo dan bi awoda nti no ji aketua
e be so ho
kakra bi na bua nyi ntumi nyane mfanji din
na ho ne yedu
ho ne sese yedu ye nu wo ye ho ne sese yedu se echina won a se won ba be two president Akufo-Addo ebebe di president Akufo-Addo adie won a pre so ba be di omo be franka tuo ewo NDC F4 ehoi nia me hwa kwan so mbe ne se omo pa nkofo a omo ankasa ni mude nkofo a omo abobrada na nkofo a omo nyina adwen ne se ye de mpuntuo a eye papa eba oman no mu nye bibia not every aspect of
Mijini say we one out of the series onyame adom brame uni adaje we understand but obonya brede said additional we abre. Interestingly, bring to a wrap up around area one Kasawadia Kusino. It is obvious. The NDC is John Dramani Mahama. Very obvious. Even though you do for me, you Kojubu Sumo, but Obrebre was once now heard the party man of the donor candia is John Dramani Mahama. Now, challenge of the new Patriotic Party. I nipa Obabisha John Dramani Mahama. I yewo era Alan Kojuche Mateo. Yewo era Dr. Owusu Free Akuto. Yewo era Kennedy Akompre kwa Gyampo. Yewo era Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ewo. And yewo era Jogati. Era Adaini Mo. And yewo era Boachie Jako. And yewo era Apreku ewo honom. Names di bo amebono o si share. A team maybe they'll be going for their super delegates and then get the 5. But who share these men? Mobi Dramani Mahama to decide Ghana Shebre for the next 4 years. MPP, why now did this as I dinner bano? Well, you should say a bit to me. First 3 bedding, if you have to choose.
Oh, yes, I know how many.
First 5, because super delegates be 5. So first, that one is fair. No, first 5, that one is fair, Prof, because super delegates be 5. The ideally, nipa 8, 9, mabo muding.
My young cousin, Papa, na media way the first 5 for them can.
So we need
Modia first 5 from Gyampo to say, let's say, Mamma Adom. Near me, who say, look, I've interacted with many of the Nkofwa or my imagine say, on person Mudi President Akufo-Addo. It been more honey any moment. It been so hard any moment. Now, only in Akasa. Politics is about contest of ideas. Ideas na the omo papa. And chairman thing ideas na pa. Dr. Baumia or ideas pa if we yakoto or ideas pa Kwabne Japan or ideas pa Kenya Japan we don't say people man of the people or no so osha as a oh we the presidential sana Donald Trump on a mancha share Inti no also no hwɛ sɛ ne ɔyɛ ne nneɛma na ɔyɛ forthright na no nonsense na ɔno so bɛyɛ nneɛma bi ɔhwɛ ɔno so people feel say ɔno so ideas obetumi dia they all have great ideas great like I have interacted with them but me hwɛ sɛ ne ɔmo ideas ebi no more superior ideas to others and nneɛma hu no so sɛ wɔn nyinaa na make on masemi bebree no wɔ hɔ a they were or are still they were with President Akufo-Addo in the physical. But I said spiritually, no, they had departed or very varied views as to how things can be done. But as I saw MPP now internet, so almost what what I'm proposing is given the very serious ideas some coffee away. I'm proposing a certain debate, internal flag bearership debate. Internal flag bearership debate. How Alan Chemantin and Baumia Akutu Free Kwabne Japan how they especially after their super delegates, you know, how they are going fair in a debate so that the sense of who is who. Why and obetumi LED as for like NDC as rightly said, NDC is a foregone conclusion. I do not see but I don't see how Mama, in their own words, is a presumptive presidential candidate for the NDC. I don't see how anyone can overturn this. I just say in Central Krano, even Central Krano, this is Jesus Christ Ankasaba. Now, apart from that, I mean, you say be able to see, that view or will be changed. But what back MPP more? It's going to be a keenly competitive at the process. Na nia ombetumi dia ye abo omanfo and omo delegates and omanfo yina so ombe create that platform, dialogue platform. That young man JFK secretary metri emane no say on fanka na ni so ade hunu ho na on create a fair a level in field platform and farmer aspirants no na omo debate one joining Akufo-Addo government no omo nkyere ne omo ye okay how they govern their ministries niema obaye ne ehunsunsuanso papa bia Ghana nyaye na omo nkyere ne a omo kwan omo fa so depart from aban ne niema bia omo ye wo na eno no ebema yehu nia okita owo obetumi aye adwuma no in terms of replacing Akufo-Addo. So I believe that they have ideas. Some have superior ideas, and these things will come out clearly when they are all engaged in a debate.
Okay, so Prof, you're a rapport partner, but area Kwabnedu, Donald Frost Santa, Yako, Unia paying Professor Dani Kofi Edu, Anna Omame, Oba paying Florence, Abana Chumwa Edu. Yaka said the radiator start from Nami Adma. 1 week on she share and say. Sejimasi Presby Primary Park, I want to be so. Memenda January, need to also eduno watch 28 January 2023. I don't know what you prepare. Yes, I don't for say one quarter year Kwabne do for the Santa. Nechi bra ne mame anafe ye ni nua paying Professor Dani Kofi Edu na ne mame oba paying Florence Abna Chumwa Eradia Tonsa a day from. Prof Ghana be ye. Any that's all.
Well, a son said, and Kwawo na ye jinya midi, a movie be a qua sorry, a bomb say, or mine any yintino. Mijidi said, Nyami wumua, a be na Osha, President Akufo-Addo nansenya okohia asori mpanimfo bi ono kra kan se omumwa omunkai Ghana mpaibo enti no esanse atwere nyame enti no se ebeyi na mum si yedie ni hwe nipa ni omaye fi 19 ebe sabre dia as we are going round in circles your man eji nyame di ye bom mpaye se nyame ankasa nkyere nia obetumi edi enim sanse nyame mfi so embe bibi ama nipa ordinam nipa so e mo mpaye se kyere ye ndi enim papa a ye di oman ne hye nsa obetumi ebu oman ne se ne ya na ye ho behare eyi bond ne na asefo ne nsem akokkoso yi on se ha ye nyina oman no mu anwe ye nya penipa ne enim papa de bia ne ta ye na enra madam for be this am so say enne ayi why investment bi with a bank bi na enne mature sika no aban account mu a ohun bebi a onfanko si embu oman ni yi a some of these concerns no embo so me bebi a me first kan nkoto yan hwa na behwe ma fe enkofo bi ebe sorry ekoku akonkofo fie ekokunku omo enam se enkofo I lose confidence in the financial system intinu afi obi enye sika so me de kwhye me dem me de kwhye me mpaase okomu di obi suno ne mse sika hye odem a ofatu a ode bawo so ebe attack enkofo intinu bitu aban ini papa mra na we should not sacrifice our quest for debt sustainability. We should not sacrifice our financial system, for our quest for debt sustainability. Yes, sir. The financial system, no, GDA, a woman, a collapse here. I buy a day, said that, or Pesica, Cradia, or Bez, will be at the Sika, a Bashan and pass it.
Professor Gyampo, Mamma say, we never did. Namia Adoma, Echina, I want to say, also made that sell Brefo, the Vienna, Bessay, by.